Let's get into it. What a week. Vice President Kamala Harris held a rally in Atlanta, Georgia on Tuesday, the biggest rally of her presidential campaign so far. And the vibe at this packed arena? Impeccable. Look at that unified, excited group of people all believing in the same team. Is this what sports is? Is this what family is? Rapper Quavo spoke about gun violence prevention at the rally and gave Harris his endorsement.
You can't understand the struggles of gun violence if you're not in the field or in the heart of it. So one thing I learned about working with Vice President Harris is she always stand on business.
And if you listen closely, you can hear every white person Googling standing on business. Megan Thee Stallion performed before Harris took the stage saying this.
Now I know my ladies in the crowd love their body. Real hot, girl. And if you want to keep loving your body, you know who to go for. Hey!
Yeah, sure, absolutely. But it's also important to note, one thing women in my life have taught me, it's that you can want to demand bodily autonomy while hating your body with the fire of 1,000 suns. I agree that's a problem to solve, for sure. But we need to make sure we have a broad coalition of women who seem to love their body and women who hate their bodies. You can't win without the women who hate their bodies. The vice president took the stage to a deafening welcome. That is what you all could sound like when I walk out here. This is what, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Oh, wow, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Incredible. Stop it. Stop it. You're too much. When Harris spoke about Project 2025 and said her new campaign tagline, the crowd chanted it back with her. We're not going back. Hyped up crowd at a Kamala Harris rally or me driving away from my house without my sunglasses for the millionth fucking time. It's the worst 3 minutes. That's the worst 3 minutes. Going back with the sunglasses. Harris addressed Trump directly with a challenge to debate her.
Well, Donald, I do hope you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say, say it to my face.
Oh, yeah. If you have something to say to me, put it in an email. And delete the email. Go about your day. The vice president will reportedly choose her running mate by Tuesday when she and her chosen white guy will hold their first rally in Philadelphia. And I couldn't help but wonder, was Kamala really looking for her Mr. White? Or just her Mr. White now? Meanwhile, in Lower Manhattan, Samantha was gathering some polling data of her own. A Harris campaign aide warned against reading too much into that first rally location. So there goes my dream of Vice President Will Smith eating a hoagie while climbing a greased-up street lamp. The tea leaves accumulated on Wednesday, with the Harris campaign urging Wall Street donors to get their cash in quick, citing a financial rule that prohibits contributions to tickets that include a sitting governor, said Arizona Senator Mark Kelly upon learning that he might be cut from the running. The good news is I have perspective and know that we are all just globs of tissue and blood and tiny sacks floating in the infinite blackness of space. Listen, I've said it once, I'll say it again. You can't trust astronauts. They change up there. On Thursday, Governor Shapiro canceled his weekend fundraisers in the Hamptons, adding fuel to the rumor that he could be gearing up for a vice presidential announcement. If he books an appointment with his bikini waxer, we'll know he's got it. Walz and Bashir also signaled that their weekends were now open, which is crazy because they both told me they had plans. And it's like, okay, escape room for one, sure. Maybe it'll be fun not to have to share the puzzles. As the internet familiarizes itself with Trump's VP pick, Jeffrey Dahmer Vance, disturbing quotes from his recent past continue to surface. A top contender this week is from a 2021 talk Vance gave at a Christian high school about the sexual revolution and divorce.
And this is one of the great tricks that I think the sexual revolution pulled on the American populace, which is this idea that, like, well, okay, these marriages were fundamentally, they were maybe even violent, but certainly they were unhappy. And so getting rid of them and making it easier for people to shift spouses like they change their underwear, that's going to make people happier in the long term. And maybe it worked out for the moms and dads, though I'm skeptical, but it really didn't work out for the kids of those marriages.
Yeah, he's got a point. 2 Christmases is all fun and games until mom moves to Scottsdale with Ronald. Now I got to go to Scottsdale. I do want to make a serious point about this because he's not just wrong like on our lefty coastal cosmopolitan terms. Like, he's wrong on his own terms. It's not permissive liberal values or campus Marxism that has led to rising divorce. Here's how we know this. Divorce rates are lower amongst college-educated people. Divorce rates are higher in red states than blue states. They believe our society has gotten too fruity, but those fruits end up staying together for 40 years while establishing a scent design business. It's a real story. It's a real story. 2 gays on Supermarket Sweep were business partners on the show. They've been together for 40 fucking years. If you believe a society where couples stay together is better than one where couples divorce, don't make divorce harder, make fewer men punch women in the face. And then stop blaming Nancy Pelosi. She's been married since 1963. She celebrated her 20th wedding anniversary before J.D. Vance was fucking born in that manger, I believe. I don't know where he was. I haven't read the book. I think he was in a manger. I don't know. I simply don't know what hillbilly elegy is about. Simply don't know. Meanwhile, at a rally in Henderson, Nevada on Tuesday, Jar Jar Dinks Vance took a moment to confront his mortality.
I'm 40 years old, almost. I'm sad about that, by the way. I turned 40, I think, on Friday. Thank you all.
It is simply unacceptable. So, of course, it's unacceptable for the vice president to be younger than me. That's obviously unacceptable. The only thing that makes me feel better is the way he's doing 40 and the way I did 40. I like also, he's like, oh, I barely even thought about my birthday. I told my wife no surprise parties, but I said it in the tone that means if I don't walk into a surprise party on Friday night, your reading and driving privileges are revoked. So she's maybe planning something. Anyway, hasn't thought about it. Yeah, he's like, I love my wife. She's not white, by the way. Not sure why I keep saying that. Vance also offered us this gift.
Now, I would call her up here to come and speak, but then I think I'd have to sleep on the couch tonight, so.
I'd have to sleep on Couch, my other wife. I mean, not my wife. I mean, my friend, Couch. The Couch. We call it the couch, not couch. Not like a person. I'm not sleeping with Couch. I'm sleeping on the couch. Normal. Normal. Sleep on the couch, not with Couch. Normal. On Wednesday, Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski slammed Vance over his recent childless cat lady comments, telling Politico, if the Republican Party is trying to improve its image with women, I don't think that this is working. I don't know what she's talking about. Women love a man with the jawline of a beefsteak tomato who wants to go back to, you can't divorce me until you prove I'm evil, to a judge I golf with. Not to be outshined, Trump gave a disastrous and combative interview at the National Association of Black Journalists annual convention in Chicago on Wednesday. And before you ask, yes, it's the Trump you're thinking of. And all of it could have been avoided if somebody warned Trump that the BJ in NABJ stands for black journalists instead of what he was thinking. Here's how it started.
Why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you?
Trump then asked to see her manager, holding a tiny, tiny hope that it might be a white person. Trump continued,
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
While Trump blamed the delay on the association and its equipment, the real cause was Trump reportedly backstage demanding that journalists do not do live fact-checking, which I actually think is fair. I also spent a lot of time backstage before taping, reminding the team to not fact-check me when I say things like, I've been hitting the gym, or I actually knew about Chapel Roan last year. When asked if he would rein in his supporters who call Kamala Harris a DEI hire, Trump demanded interviewer Rachel Scott define the term.
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
Diversity, equity, inclusion.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
Give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir,
of
I'm
that.
asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me, if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir.
They did eventually establish who was on first, but they never cycled back to it again. Trump then said this about Vice President Harris's race.
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
Please, Trump pleaded, tears in his eyes, I need to know which slurs to use. Trump was also asked about Jiminy Dickett Vance's childless cat lady's comments.
Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children before you picked him to be your running mate? And do you agree with him?
No, I know this. He is very family-oriented, and he thinks family is a great thing. I know people with families. I know people with great families. I know people with very troubled families. And I also know people with no families. They didn't meet the right person. Things happen. You go through life, you don't meet the right person.
Sometimes you meet a guy on Hinge, okay, and he seems good. He has a face, and you go, that's a good face. I like that face. But then you go out for an iced oat latte. We love iced oat lattes, don't we, folks? And he's not asking you questions, okay? Not a single question. And all of his jokes are Michael Scott quotes. Lion Michael, I call him. I didn't commit. Trump's allies, we could still leave it in, though. Trump's allies, I don't care. Trump's allies on Fox tried to spin the event to no avail. Here's Jesse Waters doing his best to pull up the nose of the plane as it plummets towards the earth.
She's not African American technically because she has a Jamaican dad.
I feel like this is the only chance I'll have. So let me just say, Donald Trump, you're making me crazy. But it wasn't just racism on offer this week. In an interview with Fox's Laura Ingraham on Tuesday, Trump suggested that Kamala Harris wouldn't be taken seriously by world leaders, well, for some reason.
I think they'll walk all over her. She'll be so easy for them. She'll be like a play toy. They look at her and they say, we can't believe we got so lucky. They're going to walk all over her. And I don't want to say as to why, but a lot of people understand it.
Somehow the implied misogyny is worse than just coming right and saying it. Like, you're making me fill in the misogynistic blanks in my own mind. This is non-consensual brain misogyny. Get out of there. You know? What are you doing? This guy, for the first time in his life, discovers innuendo in this paragraph? It's unbelievable. And then there was this exchange.
What are your pronouns?
I don't want pronouns. I don't want pronouns. I saw that.
So you're fluid?
That sucks. That sucks. You know? Imagining Trump coming out as like a two-spirit pansexual, it's like, it's not even like technically a paradox. Like, it is of course possible, like I guess logically, but it seems harder to picture than like dry water or a square circle. You know what I'm saying? Trump also attempted to turn the weird tables.
You know who's playing weird? She's playing weird. She's a weird person.
You're not weird, I'm weird. And then today we got this awesome clip from Kamala HQ.
Well, they're the weird ones, and if you've ever seen her with the laugh and everything else, that's a weird deal going on there. They're the weird ones. Nobody's ever called me weird. I'm a lot of things, but weird I'm not. And I'm up front, and he's not either, I will tell you. JD is not at all. They are.
Man, you just know that vice president role. And by the way, my vice president isn't weird. You're weird. You're weird for saying it. He's normal. We're normal. We're normal dudes. Can't shake. Once you're saying I'm not weird, that's tough. That's tough. Also, it's hard to trust the weird barometer of Trump, a man who spent so much casual time with Rudy Giuliani in his ink goblin years. Like if Salvador Dali were your roommate and you were trying to convince everybody you knew what a normal clock is. At San Diego Comic-Con over the weekend, Marvel Studios announced that Robert Downey Jr. will be making a triumphant return in 2 upcoming Avengers movies in the role of Doctor Doom. Marvel Studios explained the decision came about organically after they decided they wanted to make more money. Speaking of rolling in fromage, over in Paris, it's fine. The U.S. women's gymnastics team took home the team gold. This win makes Simone Biles the most decorated American gymnast in history. Incredible. In worse Olympic news, Google is running a commercial during the games in which a child writes a letter to their sports hero, track star Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, using their Gemini AI.
Help my daughter write a letter telling Sydney how inspiring she is. Got this. Let's go.
So this is an advertisement for this product in which AI is writing the letter on behalf of the child to their idol. And that's good. That's the good future that they want. The father uses AI to send a letter on the daughter's behalf. The athlete's manager sends back an AI-written reply. Neither daughter nor athlete ever has to be involved. Incredibly inspiring. What a wonderful future where we finally solve the problem of having to teach our children to write. Meanwhile, the internet fell in love with the many incredible marksmen and women of the Olympic shooting events like South Korean superstar Kim Ye-ji.
And it's there! It's there! The world record has gone!
Forget about K-pop, this is K-bap, bap, bap. Just to note, Hallie asked Lazarus if I could pull this joke off, and I feel like it did better than we thought. All right. So who thinks I did that? Who thinks I made that joke work? And who thinks I ate shit? Okay. It doesn't need to be, I don't need Putin victory levels, you know, I don't need 90-10. I'll take a solid majority. And finally, Keanu Reeves is set to star in Waiting for Godot on Broadway next year. In the new production, Estragon and Vladimir must keep waiting at 50 miles an hour or Godot will explode. Reeves will appear along with his good friend and Bill and Ted series co-star Alex Winter. So get ready for Bill and Ted's existential adventure.